the Canadians, they're just under 34 is the average age, but this is an experienced team that has been here before, and they have been in and around the top of this sport. They officially come in as number 4 for these, as far as the International Wheelchair Rugby Federation rankings. So it has the United States at 1, Australia 2, Japan 3, and Canada 4. There's Whitehead. Great target inside for the Canadians, and he's got good body size. He's the 40-year-old. He's a 3.0 classified player. And right there is Fabien Lavoie just coming out. 12, Patrice Dagenet. He shares the captaincy with Trevor Hirschfield, number 11. And there, Patrice Samar rounding out. There's their number 1 man. Arguably, maybe the best player. Probably you give that to Riley Batt at the moment for Australia, but right behind on his heels, Zach Medell, the kid, 18 at those first Paralympic Games for himself. It's time now for the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, the anthem of Brazil.
Senhoras e senhores, o hino do Brasil.
Such a spirited piece of music, that, the Brazilian national anthem, as this crowd cheers it on. The home crowd inside this arena. It has a capacity of just over 14,500 as Kevin Orr comes across. He's a well-established coach of the Canadians. He was with them 4 years ago when they were in London, and he leads them again here in Rio. This will be interesting to see just how this youthful team for Brazil can perform against the established old guard. The Canadians, they do have experience. They've got depth in numbers, and probably in comparison to Brazil, they have quality in depth as well. They have a female player as well in their lineup. It's Miranda Beletsky. She's number 1. So this is the Canadian lineup in total. and all the way through. There's depth from Whitehead, who's the big target inside, and the established players of Caldwell, Hirschfield, Lavoie, Dagenet, Wilsey, the veteran 48, Patrice Simard, and Zach Medell, the 22-year-old. He was 18 in London, but now the responsibility. Are they able to go right on through and get to a position to take on Australia and knock them off as the defending gold medal champions? This is their first step. So looking at the Brazil lineup, all the way through, Taniguchi and Higino, the two joint captains of this team, and then Damasceno as well, but they are youthful, they've got spirit, their coach equally as well, Rafael Gouveia, and so he will, with the final touches, make sure this team is ready. There are 8 players on the field of play right now, 4 each side, and this is the opening 4 for Canada. They got Beletsky out there, Whitehead, Hirschfield, and Medell. So with Beletsky out there, they have an extra 0.5 of an allowance on the floor. So just to give you an idea, there is Brazil's Junior, Camargo, Braz, and Guirato are the opening 4 for them. Each player with a level of function has an according and appropriate numerical value. We'll explain that as we go, but we're about to set off this one. The final match of the day. It is a Group A matchup, and the opening tip-off, the players await. Whitehead, uncontested, takes that one. And into his clutches now. He will advance it to Medell. Medell is a 3.5 classification. You see him just powering away here right now. Good contact, though, from Brazil. That is their number 12, Guirato, who does his best. He's a 3.0, so the lower the numerical value is the lower level of function. So we have right down to a 0.5, all the way up to a 3.5. You see Medell should carry the majority of the offensive load for Canada. Whitehead can as well. And Brazil, under pressure, elect to call a 30-second timeout. So they have a couple of each, the 30-second variety and also the 60-second. They do that more to maintain possession. It was the feeling there from the Brazilian that Whitehead was going to possibly dispossess him. And that's what leads to, quickly here, 22 seconds in, a discussion about their tactics. So for Canada, as a result of having the one woman on the floor, Miranda Beletsky, they have an 8.5 allowance on the floor right now. This advance forward, maybe a little bit sloppy from Brazil. It'll be taken by Beletsky. She's kept inside the field of play, and then immediately off of the play, it's Whitehead who calls the timeout because they were concerned that Beletsky was maybe going to get shoved out of play. They will move right back, and this is inbounded into Whitehead. And he, a tower of power. Great nickname for him, Shake and Quake. It's a beauty. Here comes Medell across the line, and that in reference to his nimble movement for Whitehead and equally his size. As Medell comes right in, and he is a runaway train. I think he's backed the player out. He has. He's knocked. They've called the timeout. Brazil were really in trouble there, going back over their own try line and losing and giving up the ball right away. So a 30-second timeout. Watch how close this is here. And I think he just executes it. Some pretty good ears from Brian Ward, the British official, to have heard that. Now it's twice in this opening minute. Brazil have called timeouts. So they're not going to have that much respite throughout the entirety of the remainder of this opening half. You can't hide. The Canadians, they like to play a robust brand of wheelchair rugby. And if they get a chance to put a lot of pressure on you, they'll do exactly what they did right there. Medell, with his speed, his presence, he is effective. He must just keep going with that ball. And in order to keep the ball active and in play every 10 seconds, they must bounce it or pass it. They have 40 seconds on the shot clock, but Canada have opened things up here. And the 3-goal margin already established, in Brazil just getting themselves organized. So as we say, they participated in the Paralympic Pan Am Games in Toronto. That was last year, and a 4th place finish. That a young side really just getting themselves formalized. And this home crowd, they don't need much to ignite. They will be just as keen to see whatever they're able to muster. It's Medel with that full court press. He comes in as the first man. Here comes Brazil. This is good movement. Backside to Higuino. And he with the, he gets dislodged of the ball, just reaching in. The Canadians have knocked it away. There is Higuino. He just goes by the one name, as you can appreciate from this part of the world. Pele, most notably, the famous Brazilian footballer. And even on our official information, it's Higuino. That's the man that has the ball, and it just was taken from him a moment ago. Really love the flair and also the excitement in this building as Brazil now will take a crack at it. They've got great movement and power too. That's a great move. That is a almighty shovel, shake, and bake across the line. And Brazil grabbed their first goal, and listen to this place erupt. It's that type of environment. They love sport. They love the Paralympics. Medel, he is just as interested in taking it across the line for another goal, though. He's not standing on ceremony, and he's got the opening 4 for the Canadians. So those timeouts, this is Abreu to make the inbound. He's the 27-year-old. Got to make sure there is Medel. He doesn't give any quarter to anybody. Great movement here again. We're watching this. This from the Brazilian. I think he just gets inside the post. You see it's movable. And that is Braz, who has done that twice. And he is showing that he is equally as nimble and as quick as he has 3. He's a 3.0, but he has both of these goals too. So they allow that. You see the posts are movable. There's an 8-meter line. That's the try line that you go across in order to score a goal. Higuino can't get to Medel. Another player tracking, and Medel has just got himself his 5th point. He's speedy, he's powerful, and he's constantly, he's got that smile on his face. He enjoys the action. And he from Alberta, the western side of Canada, as so many of these players, that's where they currently reside, many of them in British Columbia. Medel gets upended by Higuino. And here again, Braz, this is great flair and great excitement from Brazil. They have shown right away that they are going to hang right tough with the Canadians. And this is not just a fairness exercise about making sure that the host nation gets to participate. These guys can play. That's fantastic. To see Higuino come in and you see the wry smile from Medel. He gets cross-blocked there like you might in American football. And they just take him out. So he enjoys that part of it equally so. And if you're going to give it, you've also got to be ready to take it. And he will score again. We're up to a half dozen. So only the man right now that is scoring for Canada is Medel. So everybody else working to provide, and it almost just seems natural. They've gone over that line, though. That's a careless little mistake from Brazil. They make the inbound, and I'm trying to take an east-west pattern to come across away from the Canadian forecourt press. They go back across over their try line. Here's Medel. Love it. Love to see Brazil challenging him. And they've taken the ball from him as well. It's great work, great energy, an emotional side. And they are lighting this building up, the home crowd, right involved in it. So on point, you saw those opening 2 timeouts called by Brazil. And they have made sure that they were formalized and didn't get caught up in the moment here and allow the Canadians just to run roughshod over them. But this Medel, he will find a way. And he winds and weaves his way through the Brazilian defense. And you look at Kevin Orr, he knows that this is going to get interesting. Whitehead has come in, taken out his man. And down goes the Brazilian. So you see this is a demonstration of just how heavy these wheelchairs are. A lot of these athletes depending. The athlete down right now is a double amputee. And Whitehead will go across and serve a penalty here. We're just seeing who this is. But that makes the difficult part. This is, in fact, the goal scorer so far, Julio Braz, who has the 25-year-old, the 3 goals for Brazil. So you see what Whitehead thought of just the way he'd been playing so far. He comes in and just lowers the boom and takes him right out. Here comes Medel, straight up and into the Brazilians. This across, here is Braz. Oh, he's got the touch. He's got a little touch of flair. There's no doubt of it. this crowd is going to get behind him. Enjoy everything that he has got to bring to this matchup. There's a spirit alive and well, and Medel does well to just keep himself as he was getting a little bit of a bumpy ride there. And he comes across and makes sure that he has full retention of that ball. So back and forth. This is a real good flow to the matchup. And this is Higino. He holds, waits for some support. The offload, again, it's bumper cars. They say it's more like combat chess with bumps and bruises. Gotta love Braz. Love the way he plays. He's across the line again, and he'll score. And he really is a good counter for Medel from Canada. This into the open court. And Medel does not push it, just wraps that ball up, takes it across. So you see just how alert they need to be. Nothing is going to come easy here. His international debut was for Medel in 2011. That's when he got going in the sport. But he acquired his impairment. This now, Braz down low. He'll wind his way out, and there's a great hit underneath. And that just opens his man. Says, you, my friend, are starting to make life difficult. And this the hit, right underneath. You see the bumpers on these chairs. Can in fact get underneath and electing to call a timeout. There the Brazilian coach, and Cueva is indicating for it. They're gonna use them up pretty quick though, the way they're going. Kevin Orr keeping calm, fully suited and booted over there on the Canadian bench. It'll get hot with that jacket on, no doubt. You can see already the perspiration from the athletes. And I think this is Braz who's still having to have some adjustments. They tape right across his palm. Just, that's where he's most comfortable. Every athlete a little bit different. And equally their impairments, they'll have impairments to their upper as well as their lower limbs. And some innate, some acquired. Every story is a different one. But this, the level playing field out on the court in this field of play for wheelchair rugby. And Medel, with great courtesy, pops it back to the referee. Says that's 10 points and counting, as he has them all for Canada so far. This, the advancement again. Is Higino gonna get it? It looks like it won't be. A little reach in, and Braz will just take it again. Julio Braz. He is lighting the spark inside this building. So it really is the Braz and the Medel show, because both of them responsible for the entirety of their team's points so far. Oh, it's been unloaded. And this picked up some loose change. It's bankable. As here comes Braz, and Medel comes back to attend to him, but it's a little bit late. So that's what the contact will do. It will dislodge the ball and create these opportunities for turnover. That's worked out for Canada. There he is again, just coming in. And this is fascinating, just to see this exchange. This is a wide open game. There's nothing really about this that's been overly controlled as yet, and that's why the crowd is enjoying it as they are. Plus, you've got a couple superstars that are going hammer and tongs with each other. This is Medel. He'll take this one. And now he's on to 11. So it's great to watch. So this into Higino. Medel trying his hand at what you might expect in Canada at sledge hockey, but he was finding that difficult with his missing fingers, so he switched to wheelchair rugby, and that's exactly where he has remained, and exactly what he enjoys doing the most. He says he really enjoys knocking people out of his wheelchairs, probably is the #1 thing. He's scoring a lot of points right now, but he's also done the latter. He has knocked Braz right there alongside of him, right out of his chair. And of course, that comes from the elements of hockey in Canada, known to many as ice hockey in other parts of the world, but just simply hockey in the North American continent. That will travel, though, all the way through So this, a hybrid of many sports. American football, you could handball, basketball, equally hockey is an element in this one, but ultimately it's wrapped up in the word wheelchair rugby, and it officially became sanctioned by the Paralympic Committee, the International Paralympic Committee, in 1994. It was a test event in Atlanta in 1996, and then in Sydney it becomes an official Paralympic sport at these Paralympic Games, and has been ever since, growing in popularity. But Medel with the bounce, he has pretty much every move in the book as he has gone the full course of the field of play there. More moves than a bucket of worms as he brings that one across the line. And Orr just watching from the sidelines, just making sure that this is going to course. A great spark of two creative players after each other. The handoff, it's given, and the open player, there he is again. Braz will score it. And he's just as calm about his engaging that line as is Medel. So Medel officially credited with 12 of the 13 points. The other is a team goal, and I think that was just a moment ago. That one officially, as he tried to get across the line, but it was actually the Brazilian player when he was trying to attack that goal line that went out first, and that's deemed as a violation, but it was just given and awarded as an automatic. So it's officially recognized as a team goal for Canada. So these are one of the small details. They hunt him down, and they pretty much got him trapped. He will bounce it, but he's going to find a way out of here. The offload, but it's been handed over. Braz takes right into his clutches. Here he comes, and he will gun it and run it all the way across the line. And you can hear what the home crowd thinks about that. Medel with a real youthful smile. He knows that in his pocket, he has the ability really to counter and outperform potentially, but it's the supporting players, and the first supporting goal goes to Trevor Hirschfield. He is one of the joint captains on this side. He and Patrice Dagenet, the 32 and 31-year-old in this Canadian lineup, they hold those duties. And this is what they'll try and push. This is Medel trying to push the Brazilian out. Here he is again, Julio Braz. What an offload here into the safe hands of their number 3. And Camargo will score the other first goal of the match, other than the two that have been stealing the show. Medel's going to have to really hunt to get this one. He's going to, just in time. That's exceptional. And then he throws on the anti-lock brakes there and gets it just in time. That really was impressive. That is just putting the head down and just powering through with those arms to catch up to that intended pass to him. He was a little bit late out of the gates, and maybe the pass a little bit strong, but he gets to it. It's fed into Julio Braz again. He is like a water bug. He'll find his way in and around this Canadian defense, and it's really outstanding to watch. Again, the feed across. This a move into Damasceno, and he gets his first goal. So the youthful style of this team also reflected in the baseball cap of their head coach, as it will be a Canadian score. And another score, it's Ian Chan. He's the 39-year-old that will record that one for Canada. So we're starting to see a little bit of a spread in this score line. I don't think the home crowd mind much. They're seeing a lot of great action, and they're seeing their host nation right in this one amongst the heavyweight. So you could say it's a heavyweight potentially against a cruiserweight here, but there's both some serious body blows going in. They're going to count that one just inside the posts, and Hagino back ready to come into this one, and then Davi Abreu also with them too. Here comes Medel one more time. And that, the offload. The service into Medel is huge, because it's one thing to get away, as he does every single time, trying to release and get the release valve of any pressure and tension on the inbound, but you've got to be able to get it to him. His speed, though, creates a lot of space in which to try to service that. 2 new players coming in. And you see the Canadians not wanting to see that be an easy exchange. They try to use the bumpers on their wheelchairs to prevent that ease of access. And that's Hirschfield right over there, making life difficult. And you see the different designs of these chairs. More offensive players with the more mobile, the shorter bumpers, and also the controlled wings on their wheelchairs. That, the big hit. Medell forces that as he comes straight, dead bullseye into the Brazilian, and then it's the almighty bun fight as Whitehead goes into it. And he tries to strip it from the Brazilian, but the possession arrow in favor of the South Americans, and they will take control. I think for a second there, it's into Hirschfield, and he goes in. That is, he sees that he's going to get in trouble. His teammate, who's a lower classified player, and Hirschfield, who's a bull, tries to help him out there, but it leads to a 50-50 ball, and then that score right again for Brazil. This crowd right in it with every movement out there into Whitehead. Takes him a little while. He's like a Big Mac truck. Now he's rolling. Oh, and he's been held up for a moment. The offload into an area for Medell. And he is as reliable a player to support you as you're going to have. He just will hold this, trying to manage the remaining seconds of this opening period. And Whitehead right now just takes his time, and like a big logging truck, he's across the line. He's done it backwards. So 28.8 remaining. And they get 40 seconds in that score clock. So that very active Julio Braz trying to take it from Whitehead. Interesting story for him as well. He's battled with some substance abuse, and they diagnosed with bipolar syndrome, but he has found his way back onto this national program and performing. An outstanding talent is Whitehead. Gets his hand up, prevents the easy pass in. Tries to hold Braz. There's the big hit, the offload. They could hunt this down. Medell just gets enough of a touch on it. Hagino keeps it in, and Medell almost climbs up over him. Is he called a timeout in time? He has. And there you see the double touches of the shoulders from the referee. They just want to utilize an inbound play here. With 13.7, they've got enough time if they catch a Medell in motion. Whitehead will take off. He can advance it to him, but Medell, he's got enough power in that chassis just to take it across the line. He'll hold it, and they'll manage. He gets shunted by Braz across the line. So there's 3.3 remaining in this opening period. And they'll just stay back, Canada. Hagino will take the inbound. So patiently just now back in good position. Canada electing to just, rather than overly force it, it's most likely to go to number 11. That's where the open option has been. And that's where they want to go with it. So Whitehead stays right, tracking him like a Canadian shadow. Wherever he goes, so does Whitehead. So the wheels you see that can easily be replaced, that's if you can find them. There's so many over there. Slightly different sizes, these wheels, but they're easily enough interchangeable. But you have to find the exact one for the appropriate wheelchair. And this is Wiersma Jr. coming in. I think they're going to run out of time, get across that center line, but a very entertaining, exciting first quarter. It almost feels like the first half has already been played. The amount of activity we have seen and the action, it's been outstanding in the opening 8 minutes. But Canada will take the lead into the second quarter. They are currently 19-13 up over the host nation Brazil in Group A play. So no offensive fouls, a few turnovers from Brazil, 2-1 to the Canadians. And then it really is just about the generation of getting that ball and generating speed opening for Medell. He does the rest with 15 scores in that opening 8. Some good action, as we saw there on the highlights and the replays in that opening 8 minutes. And the teams, just 2 minutes break between the quarters, the periods, and then a 5-minute break at halftime. They return to duty. Do the hosts, they in the lime green uniforms, waiting for the Canadians to return. So they will be going in the same direction as they were. They don't change direction until halftime. So the inbound, it's Canada feeding it up, and it's as quick as that into Medell. He's always in motion. He takes the opening score of the second period. And not even 2 seconds on the tick of the clock. As soon as he gets it, then the clock ticks. But did you see, he was in full flow. And there he is. Braz, he's going to get around the end. He is turning. And he will score. He works hard with those arms, just pounding away at those wheels to generate the power. He could turn cream into butter the way he works, as this will be Medell to take another score. So they don't waste any time. They love scoring too. Make no mistake, Zach Medell loves to score, but he equally loves that physical element. Loves to smile as well. It's very unusual to see a superstar as delighted by the sport as he is. There's no reason not to be, but it really is interesting, him as a personality. He really is like a kid in a candy store. As this will be Hagino taking it up, advancing it. Can they get to it? It just gets beyond the outstretched arms, and not a bad idea, of course, to go to that man there, but he can't quite get extended to it. So you see every player with a little bit of a different, whether they want to have a glove that they use or whether they use open palms. Some use latex gloves. They wrap their hands in tape. Everything is down to preference, as Medell will take it across this line. So he suggested that maybe the challenge with his lack of digits on his hand for the other sports that would be most commonly played is the first impulse maybe, but this maybe for a generation of players watching a player like Zach Medell becomes, for Paralympic athletes, maybe the sport to play of choice. Good move, inside, outside, a little bit of a delay. This is Taniguchi, he's the joint captain. Hadn't seen a lot of time as yet. He just had the 1 minute in that opening 8. He comes around this side, the offload into Braz, who will turn and see what he can do. There for Hagino, and he'll score. It's across the line. And that will be Hagino's first point. He got 7 minutes of play in those opening 8. And now the response from Canada. Patrice Simard, 37 years of age. He's been a veteran of this side. He's a 1.5 classification. So advancing it forward. A changing of the guard. Garrett Hickling was a part of this side 4 years ago, and he was the real granddaddy of this Canadian team when they took silver up against Australia. But now their big power player is Whitehead, who's evolved into that role. And Hagino again. Oh, he's great to watch. This crowd loves it. You can't help but not. It's a Paralympic party, and it's been turned over right now. The inside to Hagino as he got another one. Oh, he gets upended and turned. And it was the Canadian defender who left the field of play prior to that being recorded. So they will give it to Hagino rather than a team score. So he's got it rolling in this second quarter. Look at him go. And it will be the Canadians now just working and winding their way. They've got 12 seconds in which to get it over the center line. They've done that. Now they have the entirety of the remaining 25 seconds in which to score. And you see the players on the bench just trying to will this crowd to provide even more volume. And they enjoy that. They enjoy the emotion and that relationship with their home team. They've been great support of the neutral participants in this Paralympic Games as well. Already, as we've seen in day one, as this coming in to give, this is Cody Caldwell, number 9 for Canada. He tries to shunt the Brazilian across his own try line, and it forces the call of a timeout. And it's Brazil, the native tongue of Brazil. The most spoken language is Portuguese. So they roll the tongue, Brazil, and you can see that as they were, well, we're getting a shot of the fans just shouting the country's name. The capital of Brazil is Brasilia, and it is about 2.5 hours flight from Rio. Rio seen as the tourist capital right on the Atlantic Ocean. And all the majestic scenes that you have seen if you've been watching. It is a world-class, gorgeous city, particularly the geography. And then also probably for many, the most iconic symbol of South America is that of the Christ the Redeemer, Cristo de Redenti. Easy for me to roll my R's. And that is probably the most notable of symbols you will see, but so many iconic images coming from this city. Copacabana Beach, equally Sugarloaf Mountain, and here they will power away. Julio Braz, look at him go. He's actually got enough speed to actually take on Medel straight up, and that is as much as you're gonna see as a 100-meter dash in this sport. As those two just went, well, wheel for wheel, stroke for stroke, however you wanna itemize it, they just locked it down. And now Braz just gets upended for a moment as he takes himself onto 2 wheels. They've got 6 in total. You see the 2 big ones, but they got their caster wheels as well. And if those 2 get across the line, that's sufficient to record a score. Medel, again, now with 20. So the way he's going, he may get himself on to 40 as we have 5:25 still left in this second quarter. And the interesting thing, though, about so much emphasis on him in doing all the scoring is the other teams in this tournament are going to find ways to try to isolate him. And then it's going to be the long passes in which is to get it to him. And they're or trying to encourage him on. But you've got Whitehead, who hasn't been utilized so much to score. He has, though. Chan has scored. So has Hirschfield, Samard, and then 20 by their superstar. Hagino, he is bringing the crowd into raptures. The Canadians up again. Oh, and a big collision there as he lowers the boom. Need to be careful not to get pushed back over. Have they caused the turnover? Timeout just in time. And good activity from Hagino to reach in and get the hand on that one. Caldwell was really going to be a culprit of going over and back if it wasn't picked up by Medel, and then also the timeout was employed. So Canada, interestingly, right in a lively affair against Brazil. That really shouldn't be a surprise. You see Wilsey on the bench. He has been in this Canadian side as long as any. Moving it forward, and if they got a quick score, they do. It'll be Patrice Samard who will score for Canada. But talk about Wilsey, who's been a part of this team all the way back to Sydney when it became an official event. But they have not taken gold in his experience at the Paralympic Games. And will 2016 be that time for Canada? They win the Pan Am Games in Toronto in the host nation, but yet gold elusive for the Canadians in this competition. Good work from Brazil. They are closed off at the near side. And is there contact here? We're just watching to see. Or is it too long in the key? You can't be in there in that scoring area for 10 seconds or more. We'll just see by the official system. It's a defensive foul. It's going to come against Patrice Simard. So that's officially the call. So he's gone to the penalty box area. As you can see, he'll wait for a minute or less. And as soon as they score, the opposition, Brazil, he returns to the field of play. So Giriato will take that one, put that goal on the board. And Medel goes back and takes that in one, wraps it up. A good offload, this better play. Big hit from Higino up as well. And then Simard will take this one for Canada. So you're seeing a little bit more balance here now. And really it's a case of just getting going in a tournament. And you just go to your big gun and you say, carry the load. Let's get this thing going. Let's get the team feeling it, because this tournament starts late in the overall Paralympic Games. It's the last 5 days, and so they've been waiting around for their opportunity to go and shine. And this particular court has been dominated by the wheelchair basketball competition, this particular arena. It's been back and forth between the Rio Olympic Arena, and then now they've moved to the larger venue, and this stage now set for wheelchair rugby. So these athletes have been itching to get involved. Brazil with the utilization of the timeout. They've been strategic with those. So 4-on-4 play. And in the lap of their number 12, Giriato again. He advances it up to Higino. Higino's got a player coming around the end. That would have been Raphael Hoffman, but he elects not to go with him. Higino with that great hairstyle. I love it. He just is got energy, character, and equally he helps hold this side together. That's why he's one of the joint captains of this side. But looking, he's a 2.0, so such an effective player to be able to position. You can have him in many different combinations out on that floor for Brazil, and that's exactly why he's been denoted with that captaincy. Because your superstars generally are your 3.0s, your 3.5s, and you can have them out there. But if they run a little bit quiet, then you need to find a different combination. But a 2.0 that's as effective as Higino, he's invaluable. And a new score, this is Hoffman. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different scores for Brazil. And that's equally the case. There's 6 across for Canada. Medel will catch up with this one. And he scores another. That takes him now officially to 22 of the 29 on the board. They're counting them down. They've got to get that ball in. They've got 10 seconds in which to do so. They've got 12 in which to get it over halfway. They're going to struggle here. They're going to have to get it there by 28, and they're going to really need to make some hay now. And it's the calling again of a timeout, because they knew they were against it. And they were going to be giving it up. So it's actually, they've been fortunate that it was actually the wheel coming off and the call for the technical support. So that gives them a break. So the re-entrance now of the ball, and then the opportunity, the overall score clock continues, but they've got to get it across in 12 seconds. This is a long ways to get it. They do advance it. There's Higuino waiting. He's wide open, and the Canadians overcompensate, try to put pressure on, and then the daylight pass right into the captain. And now he's got 5. The 31-year-old takes it. So there's some good tactics being used. Higuino's brother Paulo is a coach of this sport in Brasilia. And he began his wheelchair rugby days in 2010. He was at a rehabilitation hospital at the time. And so this was part of his rehabilitation. He was involved in an accident in 2002. Impressive, though, just to see how well these athletes who start at varying times in their athletic careers, how quickly they adapt and just fall in love with the game. Where will this play be released to? It's Giriato. There he is again, across the line, and he moonwalks it across, goes backward, does Higuino. Good, strong play from Medel. He'll take this one across the line. And you see these crowd shots of the Brazilian fans just loving it. And also these becoming signature souvenir cups that they get from the local beer provider that sponsors both the Olympics and Paralympics. And they really are a novelty. They're a collector's item. Down is the Brazilian, trying to get back upright. And they need the support of their own bench officials and support staff. They say those chairs are just so heavy, and their core strength is tough to get the counter leverage to get themselves back up. But this has been a lively matchup, and however it plays out, it's been tremendously entertaining for the crowd to witness. So this now is the direction coming from the coach as to who is going to take the inbound. And finally now coming across to take the ball from referee Brian Ward, it's their number 9. This is Abreu who puts it in. The give and go immediately. Medel welcomes him with a rugby kiss. And then launched forward. It gets out of the hands though. It's an ambitious pass. It's very easy for it to be executed, but when you're under pressure and at that angle too, and particularly depending where the presence is coming from, you see the conversation going on between the two Brazilians. Hoffman having that chat with Giriato, but there's nothing overly to be getting excited about there, because whilst it can be completed, it also is a pretty hot pass coming across at what could be seen as a difficult angle. Valetsky now out on the floor. She is the female player for Canada, so that gives them an extra 0.5. You've got Whitehead, and then you've got Medel out there. That gives them a total. There's 6.5 between the two of them, so they share another 2 points out on the floor right now. And Samard is the 1.5, and then equally Beletsky is the 1.0. So that's how it works. So the inbound coming across for Brazil. There you see the boy wonder. He's no longer a boy though, he's a young man. And he will, along with the superstar from Australia, continue to just take this sport forward. So many great athletes in it, but it's always important to have some continuity. And then the new rising stars. Talk about Riley Batt from Australia. His first participation in the Paralympic Games was when he was 15. And those were the games in Athens in 2004. This inside the last minute of the opening half. And it will be recorded by Giriato. And he now with his third goal as Medell with the inbound, the 1-2 pass. And that was Hirschfield that exchanges it with him. So it was rather, it's Hirschfield out there. I thought it was Samard, so that gives the 2. That gives the overall cumulative value of 8.5 out there right now with both Medell and Whitehead. Can they make something of it? Big head-on collision, that strong bumper play, the defensive players with those longer chairs. The movement from Brazil, a little bit knotted up here right now, and the indication of something wrong with the chair. He needs a wheel, and he heard the tire burst and needing replacement. So that's interesting how the discretion of the referees, how they monitor that. As those are moments where you get a reprieve, aren't they? Simply because of technical issues. Medell also had a problem at the time, so he gets himself right into pit lane. And it's a mobile unit, it's a tire, and it's the bench official that brings it to you. It's basically what it is. No wrenches, there's nothing else. It's just pop it and lock it. It's in. So this, the closing stages of this opening half. It really has been wonderful to watch. It's been as entertaining as we have seen thus far in the tournament. Medell trying to force his man out. And we watch from the official here, Ward, just what he has called. And he's wondering where the penalty has come from, Medell. So we'll just see officially. They're going to give it to Medell. And that's maybe a little bit surprising. You see the wry smiles of it. So he comes from behind, forcing. So it's a defensive foul against him. And the fans having some fun, maybe at Medell's expense, but equally playfully done. It's all in great spirit. And there's nothing about his smile that suggests that he's feeling aggrieved. They'll wait. And Whitehead just elects not to shunt the Brazilian from behind in case he picks up a penalty. So it is a 7-point margin. And use your heads, basically. As the indication there from Kevin Orr. And up and over the ball was Medell there too. He'd put it under, but a very entertaining, flamboyant, and exciting wheelchair rugby matchup. The opening 16 minutes are in the bank, and Canada 33 to Brazil's 26. And the match statistics, as you look across the turnovers, there is the story. 7 additional turnovers from Brazil in that opening 16 minutes, so 11-4. Other than that, a couple steals apiece, and then, well, more penalties. The Canadians starting to get caught for that one. I was surprised a little bit about that last Medell call. It looked to be a little bit of a heavy one on him, but nonetheless, it was what was assessed, and these nations will just have a little breather. They won't go into their changing rooms. It's just a 5-minute break, and you see Whitehead over there probably having a granola bar or a banana, whatever is his preference. Everybody will just use this opportunity to reboot and prepare for the second half coming up in just a moment. third period awaits this matchup. It's the final one of the first day of the wheelchair rugby. It has been great in the opening half. This crowd is totally lit up, loving what they've seen. Great entertainment at the halftime as well. It really is a party inside Karaoke One Arena as play underway for this third period. And immediately some good movement and control from the Brazilians. They've got a number of different options. That's Taniguchi, number 5, who had the ball, but he's given it off to Braz. Julio Braz, he's a dart. He flies with the opening bit of control. And I'm not sure that there is a faster player in this tournament than what we've seen in the opening day. He and Medell have gone stroke for stroke, and he's, I think, just got a little bit of the edge on Medell. Now there, a point scored. It's Hirschfield. He's got a couple now. So he just gets to that ball, that loose ball, in time to advance across the line in control. You see the referee counting. They've got to move quick. Well taken into Braz again. Here he goes as Medell tries to get the touch into him, but he gets away. He's like Speedy Gonzalez. And there is no chance of stopping him once he gets a little bit of daylight. And spinning, getting away from that original block is Cody Caldwell. Good pass up to Medell, always a smart option. And then the offload, Patrice Simard into Caldwell. Oh, they'll get in the way of it though. It's been knocked down. There's 22 seconds remaining on the scoring clock. And there you see the excitement. They know that that was a little bit of a victory there. Taniguchi, with a couple steals to his credit, just prevents that easy pass in. And again, constantly giving direction is Gouveia, the coach, and making sure that his side understand just the importance of keeping to their game plan. It's within 6, and Medell right against Braz, he can't get away from him, and now he's got 3 Brazilians, and they're just creating confusion. This is as busy a movement as we have seen from both of those players. Almost seems like a video game, the way they are able to match up against each other and just be so precisely in control. Neither of them looks tired or getting fatigued, and they just go back and forth at each other. And there, the whistle has been blown. He was gone again. And you see the impairment to the right hand, the forearm of Braz. Exceptional to be able to generate the power that he does to propel against Medell, but Medell equally has an impairment in his hands. So it's incredible. It was at age 10 he lost both his legs and all of his fingers as a result of an infection. But he's gone on. He's the best 3.5 class player at the World Championships in 2014. The flag bearer at the closing ceremonies for the 2015 Pan Am Games in Toronto. The most valuable player at the World Challenge in London. That was back last year in 2015. So nothing stands in the way of these athletes. They get on and they have seen their challenges as opportunities. This for Braz, he's been upended and taken out. So you see when they're haven't got maybe the same body weight, that's part of maybe his speed that he's able to generate, but you just see how strong he is, how quick he is to his wheels. That's what generates his speed. But when you're not carrying leg weight as well, that equally helps to advance you quicker. And then that's the mobility, that's the stopping, that's the controlling, and how they're able to get in and out of traffic. So again, this is the mobile mechanic. And it really is just the removal of a wheel and then popping it right back on. And inspiring a generation of athletes. And it has been interesting in preparation, learning about Brazil and their understanding, or equally how they might support the Paralympic Games. But 40 million people in Brazil have an impairment. And so that's almost just 1 in 5. And whichever level the classification that recognizes an impairment, but so they really have taken to these Paralympic Games and great interest and having the light shone on an aspect of life in Brazil that will benefit from these Paralympic Games no end. The whole social landscape and these games offering great interest to everybody. I think the success of the Olympics equally brought forward the appetite for Brazilians and those from Rio De Janeiro to come out and support and see this live. It's advanced, and here comes Brazil. And particularly when Brazil has played, of course, the home side attracting big crowds too. I don't think they're going to count that, or are they? They're going to say that was a penalty coming up. And he looked like he was in trouble, is Braz. Hopefully he's okay. He was really appealing to his chair. He was almost there to go across this line, and then he just thrown for an almighty thunder down. He's on top of the ball, and oh, he's celebrating really more than anything. I thought he looked like he was in trouble, and just the quick pumping of that right hand, I thought as though something had happened, but he seems fine there, and he's back upright. It's going to take more than that to knock him off his path. So it's a score and equally a penalty against Canada. So the three of them out there against 4, advancing it to Medel. He's just going to try the power game. But this right here, one against the other, you see how he catches him up, but he goes with those long extended pushes with his hands in the end. And that actually just allows him to have a little bit more control and protect that ball, keep him away from Braz. So some good work there, impressive. That is back now onto the field of play with 4 players. So inside of these wheels, there's inflation. Inside so you don't have the spokes so much. The spokes would just get damaged and dented to the point where you just wouldn't have a functioning wheel. So they have these covers on them that actually have some inflation to them. And that, you can see the damage that they have undergone. Braz all the way, so that's actually an extended foul to Simard. So this now, some strong work from Canada, but they have the 3 players for an extended passage of play. Medel just loves to thrust himself. He's able to change his impact point by often just at the last second. You see there with core strength, surprising the player coming in to hit him. Comes and makes contact a little bit, and he actually reverse hits him. He thinks it was Camargo who thought he was coming in to catch Medel, and then he just recoils against him and gives as much as he's got. So Canada really relying on Medel here right now with this 4 against 3 play. It's left into an area. Can they chase it down? They're going to have to be quick. They're not going to count it. It's across the line. The wheels of the chair before possession could be there. And Braz would have caught up with it. But in his line was Günther. And he's frustrated by that one. You hear the crowd equally expressing their displeasure. All the way up for Medel. He takes it. So it's the flagrant foul from Simard that has led to this situation where it's 4 against 3. And now substitutions getting prepared on the Canadian bench coming in. It's a 10-point margin. Locking in, doing a solid job here of making it difficult. This is going to be a race. It's released. And then in Canada, they're actually benefiting from this, to be honest, right now, because it allows Medel just to cut loose. He's got 31 goals of the 40 scored, and then the rest distributed across 5 other scores. And I'm not sure there's a place he'd rather be than on court. And why wouldn't you want to be when you are a dominant force like he is, and he can pretty much do what he wants? It seems like an ideal place to spend time. Zach Medell takes this over his shoulder, and he will just wait, hold, and determine when he wants to go across the line. 20 seconds and the crowd starting to boo up. He's gonna hold again, he's gonna come back around, and now they're gonna just, he's trying to use this game clock to get the return of his player, as that will expire, and or equally having a little bit of fun with his own player. They've got a great relationship. You can almost see it in Orr's eyes, his admiration for just the engine that is Zach Medell. Doesn't seem to waver in his overall energy level. Doesn't look like he complains much. Just gets on with the work, always delighted. I mean, is that not what a coach would love to have? And can do it when required. He's a 5-tool player, you would say. He can score, he can pass, he can obviously wheel himself with great speed, he can hit, and he can think the game too. Here they come. This the offload in. They can't take that one though, as received, as he's now returned to the match. And it was Samard who got that flagrant, but he is back in. So 4-on-4. And these two, you just can't allow either one of them too much speed. This really is a great play. That's advanced a little too aggressively. And I think probably in the flow of that exhilaration from the crowd, and equally nothing better than just dropping the needle, is there? And when they do that, you have to focus so much on the speed you're generating that actually for a moment probably just lost the line of sight as to where the pass needed to be made. That was batted all the way up. That's about as good as you're going to get. Right on cue, timed and received well by Medell, but the bump play is almost like a volleyball serve. And that will often sometimes, for the lower point players, give them a little bit more range and distance. Braz is going great guns. He's going to get rocked out course though as he goes into the post, and that will be a change of possession. So you see him just kind of feeling it, saying, I thought I had it. I thought I had it just inside the post, and just couldn't hold his line. Medell just slightly heavier. You can see that when they hit each other. But it isn't always the case that the heavier player gains advantage. It's about balance. It's about timing. And when you make that impact on a player, over the top, great play. And where you strike them in their center of balance, as this will be taken by Chan. That's his second goal. So the second half of this third period we're into now. And this lead has just quietly snuck up, hasn't it? It's a dozen points. It has been so enthralling watching the battle amongst the athletes and the way they compete against each other. This really has been played at the best tempo of any of the matches we have seen. This is a great move here. Cutting through, winding. Damasceno, he's going to just use the cross block implemented by his teammate. That is Camargo. He's got time, so he's just going to go back and rethink this one here. 20 seconds, and see if they can't just get a natural opening through a player turning the wrong way at the right time. And here he's going to just keep going. He's going to score. That's outstanding. It is. It's excellent to have just been patient enough as Damasceno will score his second goal. Look at this crowd in here. It is well over 14,000. Stripped. Braz gets it right from the clutches of Chan. Chan, can they get it back? It is into Hirschfield, I think, who gets it there. It is. He, the number 10. And Braz turns it over. He's in it, he has it, and then he loses it. and then they call timeout right away. You see how quick Canada was. As soon as Hurstfield had it, they go for it, and that's where Braz gets contact on the arm. That's why he's in the penalty box right now. So 4 against 3 Canada. And it's Chan. He can be patient. He can take his time. Medell's just waiting to hit his mark with some speed, but doesn't need to overly cook this one. He really, with the extra player, they'll be setting up for who's waiting to take Braz back on, because he is just a lethal force on the scoreboard for Brazil. This crowd enjoying booing Medell. And he will go across the line as encouraged by the Brazilian. That was Damasceno coming back. 33 points now. That's the highest tally of any individual in the opening day. You see these two caught up with each other, and it's that caster wheel just in that front basket, which is the bumper of the Canadian. And without some external support, it's difficult to get out. There you're looking at the young lady for Canada. There is Miranda Beletsky, 27 years old. She's a 1.0 classification. It's in, it's up, it's into the hands of double threes. He's across the line. And it almost seems, well, it's a formality to an extent, isn't it? You have to be honest about it. When you score 34 of your team's 44, you pretty much can do it when you want to. Straight up. This is Braz. He with the feed inside, a great play, received in time. He gets dumped for his efforts, and that was a knuckle touch between both the Canadian Medell and Braz for making that play, but he needs some help before he can get himself back upright. So Braz now with 8 turnovers. But it's the assists there that are so impressive. Just the way he fed that ball in, he was able just to be so precise ahead of that try line, the goal line. Chan's got a little bit of mojo as he's rolling with speed, and here he comes across. Well, they refer to him as the Kid, but that is a nickname that also belonged to a very famous hockey player for Canada, Sidney Crosby. They used to call him Sid the Kid. But what do you call them when they get a little bit older? And maybe the Canadian crunch right there as he takes out Braz one more time. Medell is not the captain of this side, but he has delivered the greatest amount of physicality today. And Braz wondering whether or not there was going to be a foul on that one, a penalty. That's fair play. Fair game coming straight in and upending the Brazilian. And now the wave kicking around this arena. It's in full rapture inside. And it's back and forth. So it's up to a 14-point lead now. Strong driving, some good control, offloaded into Braz. He's going to have to go over and back, or who dislodged that ball? They allow it to continue, and I think it was seen as Canadians. Look at this connect. That is excellent. From an over-the-back pass, and you really are hoping for the best. There is Beletsky out on the floor for Canada too. The offload into Braz. He does a 360 spin and drops it in for another score. He's backpedaling, takes that one-handed, and then just does a pirouette just for good measure before he goes across the line. And I think he probably got spun to a degree there. It wasn't just for style points, but equally, it's outstanding. The control and the tight movements and balance. So from the bench, they will need some support again. This is Damasceno. He's waiting for it. Across this line, working, driving, the offload into their number one scorer's hands. So he's got 16, he's now got 17. And they spread it across this lineup pretty well, in fairness, Brazil. They have 7 different scorers. The Canadians still with 6, but it's Medel 20 goals more than Braz. But for my money, it's almost seemed like they've gone head to head. If you're just watching it straight up, the stats obviously tell a different story, but they have. They really have been very similar athletes and very similar entertainers too, in the way they play and the way they just love to bring that speed game. But it has been, if you've seen Medel, also with that physical aspect. And Braz has gone down a few times and been upended, but nothing wrong with that. That's all part of it. Playing at full throttle. So I think that was Canada. No, it was Brazil that just left the field of play there. Goes across the goal line. And that is what brings about the change of possession. Whitehead now out there. Whitehead's play so far today, he has 8 minutes that he's been able to control action. So as you get into other matchups, you expect to see more of him. Because there's going to be a double, probably even looking at a triple team if they can. The over-the-top play releases Whitehead back as he gets it. And this now coming to the end of the third period. He will wait and manage and cross as it's 4.6 officially. And you see him just very calmly taking that score. And that will be the expiry of the opening 24 minutes of this matchup. It has increased now, the scoreline for Canada. They are up by 15 at the end of the third period. It's Canada 49. The host nation, Brazil, very entertaining game. They have 34. And the match statistics, the turnovers from Brazil, that's the difference. 16 more times than Canada has turned it over. And that's where it leaves them as far back in the score column as they are. But this has been just great athleticism and just great spirit. I'm really just running out of appreciation for both these sides. Can't help but be inspired by it. The fourth period awaits these two sides. They have seen each other in the Para-Pan Am Games a year ago in Toronto, where that is both North America and South America competing in that competition. We'll see now out here. Here is the old guard as he will come right out and score, and we'll see 48 years young. Not fully the Silver Fox yet, but he's working towards it. At least he's got it. And this now underway. The battle for a little distribution across this lineup for both teams. And there, quickly taken no need for a second invitation to Camargo. He has been in and around that a couple times. Has been disappointed not to have been able to score. And so Wilsey's still playing. He's now coached by his longtime teammate, Garrett Hickling, who was a part of this Canadian team for so long. And he was a member of it in 2012 when they take silver against Australia. But now in his club play, they're still working together. And he was a hockey player, was Wilsey, until he actually, in the course of playing a game, injured himself going headfirst into the sideboards. And that changed his hockey career. His cousin, also a player, has played in the National Hockey League too, so sport running right through the veins for Wilsey, and this a chance one more time to maybe go after that gold medal that they have so long wanted as Canada, and that one is over and back. So the turnover is actually registered against Wilsey. So it was actually in a recreational tournament in 1995 when he tripped into the boards. But he's been the most valuable player at the Canadian Championships 2000, 2002, 2011. So a long spell. And he and his brothers run a lumber business back in Ontario. But he was a part of that movie that really set up this sport after the Athens Games. It was in 2005. The documentary Murder Ball that was about the Canadians and the Americans as they prepared for the 2004 Paralympic Games in Athens, and shows you just the pedigree and the story of Wilsey and his involvement in this sport. But another score, there is Taniguchi. He's come back out, number 5. He's the co-captain, 30 years of age. And he carries the mail for that point. Whitehead working up and into Chan. So a different construction of this Canadian lineup. Bedell, I think he's done his work. He might come back for a little bit more, but there's no need really. He's done his job. As Whitehead is just the mother load, isn't he? As he just goes right into Taniguchi. And of course there's a size difference, but you just listen to the thud of those two chairs. Inside to Chan, he'll score it. It's a great pass at the right time. And across that line, Hagino back out again. Enjoy watching him compete. He also with some style. And they're right now having a little bit of a query with the referee. He will inbound it. Or has enjoyed that. Constant prompts now coming in to his team. Advancing it forward. Big hit here. Wilsey does enough to disrupt that possession for Brazil. Launched up and over. This out to Chan. Chan has the option to go to Wilsey on the inside, and the good support play will be rewarded with another goal. Hagino working. He almost has a spin there. Wilsey does get to him, but it's the feed inside to Abreu, and he will score. You see the development of Abreu. Just an absolute rock solid frame. And of course you're going to expect that with these athletes who are using their shoulders, their arms, their forearms so much, but great physique. Whitehead just breaks away two Brazilians who try to get in his way. And he's having none of it as he just forces his way on. And now the indication from the timekeeper's bench. And Orr just registering his next set of substitutions as well. You see the apparatus, or just that protective chest gear underneath the uniform as worn. I think that was Hirschfield there on the bench. wearing it. He has taken his jersey off, and he's just got that black sort of chest guard. It shows you that it's required to sometimes protect yourself. That's why these chairs are made as they are, so that the athletes can feel safe in them and have these full contact moments. Equally why the wheels don't have spokes on them, as we will have seen in wheelchair basketball at these Paralympic Games. The Ward, the British official, done a good job just to keep the right mood and temperament about this one. And so is his colleague from Poland, Smichak. So these the point scorers across the match so far. It really just tells the story straight up that Medel is really kind of in another class all by his own. And the only other player that really can compete with him if they really want to lock down is number 3 from Australia, Riley Batt. But Davi Abreu with the movement there across the line. We'll see. He's just going to let that one slip away from him. So I offer that comparison to Riley Batt. That is no slight, of course, to Ikazaki from Japan, who has that type of range as well. Aoki is a big scorer, and we're seeing a few new players coming onto the horizon for the American team. But realistically, tracking this sport, those two are the ones that can run up totals up and over 30 before they even get into the fourth quarter. It's in now to the Brazilian Guilherme, 34 years of age. And he's driving pretty well too. Look at him go. Wilsey is trying to get there at the intersection of here and now. See if they can't disrupt him. This is going to go backwards across the line this time. No need to turn around, as Guilherme will put that one in. And he loves a good goal or two. He wanted a couple of them earlier, and they were called off as Wilsey just takes that advancement. He gets moving. Wilsey's still got a little bit of gas left in the tank. He has come out here in his 4 minutes of play. He's got 3 goals already. And there you see Medel equally has that little bit of a flak jacket underneath. And across the line. So it looks as though it's an inflatable flak jacket more so. So depending on your preference, but I think to have any extra additional Kevlar or what have you in it could get a little bit weighty, but every player obviously can customize it as they prefer. It's in, and Whitehead to control it. His option is the central feed to Chan. And the busy hands from Braz again. Immediately Ward on it, recognizing that's contact on the arm. It's a defensive foul. It's his 3rd one for Julio Braz. It's good to see, though. Just battling right to the end. Nothing is going to be given up easily, and just watching how he has conducted himself in this matchup. Just can't as well, but like him. He plays with great energy, with great respect as well. I haven't seen him moaning or complaining about any of it. And he, against Medel, has enjoyed the challenge of going up against one of the best. And he, at times, has had the better of him. And that's fair to say. It's now another score for Canada. And there is his first one of the match. Fabien Lavoie will register it. And you see those cards there. Or just balancing how he puts together his lineup. And he's probably going to get the full use of every one of his players. Everybody has been used. The only player that has not been used in this matchup yet is for Brazil. That's Anderson Case. And so, looking on, you've seen just the real emotion from Gouveia. He has watched this game, and he's not tried to disguise his emotion. And that's really refreshing from a coach. Just to come out here and say, yeah, of course I want us to perform well. I want all my players to get involved, and I want them to be successful. and I want to help them if I can. You can just see it in his eyes that he is feeling every moment of emotion alongside his Brazilian team and his players. The quick interchange between the Canadians on that inbound. And another score. This is Travis Miro, who will get himself onto the board. So this now greater distribution through this lineup. There's just the 3 scores for Canada that have not yet. Dagenet, Byron Green, and Beletsky. Big hit. It's advanced up to a waiting no. Guilherme Camargo, who has now 5 goals. So he is a 1.5 classification, 26 years of age, and enjoying the chance to perform at home. Brazil have been an absolute credit watching them go at this, and even though there is a huge disparity in the overall world rankings, this is sport, and when you're at home in a host Paralympics, well, I don't know how many points that counts for, but what it does count for is just the constant energy and the application, and I expect that will be the case throughout the entirety of the tournament for Brazil. And only 8 teams in it. You have to work every minute of the game to make sure that the score line is a fair reflection. You don't want to have any runaway points because you've had a lapse of concentration, or you felt a little bit sorry for yourself. There's nothing to feel sorry for about the score line at all. You're going against one of the best in the world, and they're 15 points out right now, but they've given as good as could be asked, and that's with the expectation of performing in front of a home crowd. It's advanced well. Braz with the offload. Speed they have out of their own half. Can they release an opening pass, though? They're going to have to come back again. Braz will now go up against the returning Canadian to defend against him. That was Patrice Dagenet. He'll score again, and that's his 18th now. So still ticking. I'm sure he wants at least 20. As soon as he scores, hand it off to the referee. Caught up here. What looked like that was going to be a heavy collision, but it's Travis Miro who gets the end of the feed from Fabien Lavoie right into his basket on his lap there. And Orr now just a little bit more content with the day's work from his side. That will get away from Braz, and I think it was just whether or not he brought it down against his wheel there, or against the frame of his chair. And you see the consolation coming across from Giratto. He says, listen, you do everything so well all the time. I think we can give you a break. Hit hard. Miro is going to now face 2 Brazilians. He's been patient to get it into Fabien Lavoie, who will score. He'll take it. That's a great route. So the Canadians do have these options. We've seen so much of Medel in that opening half. There is depth and balance across this lineup of quality. Wilsey awaiting to return to the match as well. And there he is, the number 11, double ones for Brazil. Bouncing, weaving. It's almost like a game of Frogger as he's in and out waiting for the cars to go past, and then he'll cross the road. Next car to go past, then I will move forward. Spinning twice. That scoring clock will count down, but not quite sufficiently enough, as it's across the line, and they advance it there just as quick. 25 seconds still remaining on that 40, so just in time. As you see, getting across, 12 seconds is available to them. So Cody Caldwell with his score that takes him to 2 goals today. And just so much of this team has worked together. The average age for Canada, just to reflect again, just under 34. So so much continuity from this lineup. As Braz now with 19 officially. Miro plays it in. It'd be great to see whether or not they can get every player, but I think they're going to run out of time. That opportunity to score. And Wilsey out there, just making sure that things finish in this match with some control and equally just the right temperament, the right keel. That's his nature. Strong pass into Chan. Chan can maybe find Wilsey. He's going to have to work a second time of it, though, inside this last minute. This is up to Wilsey. He could go over the top. He does just as quick, that advancing play. And the pass taken by Fabien Lavoie, and he will score that one. Speed and good action at all times from Brazil in this matchup. The offload, the over-the-top pass to Udio Braz, and he does get to 20. So he sees that. Nothing about his concentration ever wavers. He is just as attentive to an opportunity to win the ball back, and there he is fighting for it right now. And it just goes out of play. And you see some stretching going on from Medel, just focusing on the next match to come. This is day one, and it has been a set of 4 matches played, the 8 teams all participating, and each in their subsequent groups. This has been a Group A matchup, and Canada, I've just given it up late. Maybe another score here just to light this crowd up, to send them on their way in what has been wildly entertaining and has been a very proud performance from both of these nations. But Brazil at the Paralympic Games in the wheelchair rugby, they have really made a statement in this one. They're for real. They're going to be right in amongst it. And can they tighten up this group with all of the other action involved? That'll be the full-time result, though. Canada will win this one by 14 points in Group A over the host nation, Brazil. The final score is 62 for Canada, 48 Brazil. Good eye contact, good respect, and smiles as well. How can you not love it? And then the chant for Brazil, now going out around this Carioca 1 arena. And a little wink to the world watching that there is more in store where that came from. High fives right through the lineup. And these are genuine moments of appreciation and respect for each other. There's just nothing you can say otherwise. It just is, it's obvious. As both teams will now acknowledge this massive crowd of over 14,500 people and thank them for the spirit, the atmosphere, and the sportsmanship in which they encouraged, and equally vice versa from the fans, the players, thanking them for what they brought to this matchup. These are brilliant moments for Brazil, particularly at this host Paralympics, as the Canadians will equally acknowledge their support, their family and friends that have traveled the thousands of miles to be here. And then now Brazil will bring it in with one more cheer as they're in their circle, their huddle here. We'll let them enjoy this. And the accuracy of pounding that ball down as well. He catches his own work. You saw that maybe if you've been watching from the Americans earlier, that's the final accentuation point from Brazil to finish what has been a great matchup, as the Canadians will now leave the floor. They victorious and underway in this competition, and the score tally, we'll just see where it sets them up in this table now as a result. Shannon Whitehead with 3, but a number of players with 3 goals across this lineup for Canada. These the stats, the turnovers for Brazil. They're going to have to reduce those as they go forward in this short tournament. The flagrant fouls, there was the one called. It was against Canada, actually. But this, the full-time result. They take it by 6 in the opening quarter, by 1 in the second. Then they open up their lead really impressively in that third. And the final quarter belongs to Brazil, 14-13. They did not quit. They brought as much as they could to this party. And you see this, it belongs to Canada at the top of this group right now as a result of that goals for and against ratio. They go ahead of Australia, and then Great Britain currently sitting in third, Brazil. Well, what will happen in day 2 to come? It's been great. Hope you've enjoyed it. There's so much more wheelchair rugby to come from these Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. So this now, well, what do you say about a match that we just watched? Energy, enthusiasm, spirit, sportsmanship. It had the full blend of a great night of sport in Brazil at these Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. It's the Canadians, though. They don't spoil the party. They just show the Brazilians how to party on court in wheelchair rugby. It's a final score victory. Canada 62, Brazil 48. And they'll go top of the group as a result, will the Canucks.